Hello and welcome to Benz Addiction. Today I'm going to mention top 10 issues that makes me walk away from purchasing a Mercedes Benz from 1990s to 2020s. During the past 20 years, I have purchased vehicles with these issues and I'm still regretting the purchase. So hopefully this is going to help some of you in your next purchase. Thank you so much for watching. Number 10, when it comes to purchasing a Mercedes Benz, the first thing you don't want to see on the car is the history of a front impact, a heavy front impact. Especially when it comes to Mercedes Benz, there are too many details at the front. And a heavy front impact might cause all the gaps not to match correctly. So Mercedes has a very beautiful and detailed front, and you really want to check all the gaps to make sure there has been no heavy impact at the front, because that is going to cause you regret all the time. And make sure you ask the seller as well, and hopefully even the paint is the original paint. Okay, number 9. Number 9 deal breaker for me is not having a logbook and all the books and service history and the manual of the car. Without a service history, you won't have a clear understanding of what maintenance and repairs have been done on the vehicle. This can make it difficult to assess the condition and reliability of the car. Regular servicing helps ensure that a car is properly maintained and reduces the risk of potential issues. And the second problem is when the car doesn't come with a service history and logbook, let's say, it increases the potential of hidden problems. A lack of service record could indicate that the previous owner neglected routine maintenance, may have led to hidden problems in the car. These issues could become costly to fix down the road. Number 8, and this is a very big issue for me. A loud aftermarket muffler indicates that the owner enjoys revving the engine excessively, and that is not exactly what you want. So as much as you can, avoid buying a car that has a loud aftermarket exhaust system. Okay, number 7, aftermarket oversized rims. So here I'm talking about some ugly 19 or 20 inches of aftermarket rims that are weird shaped. These are usually awful when driving on the bumps, and they make a lot of interior and suspension noise. And these aftermarket rims are rough on suspension, humps and bumps and imperfection of the roads. You will hate your car and the way your Mercedes would drive. So as much as you can, walk away from a car that has aftermarket oversized ugly shaped rims on it. It's not gonna give you the best kind of ride that Mercedes should, and this should be really avoided. Aftermarket oversized rims also makes the suspension parts to wear prematurely, including the steering rack or steering box and even the shock absorbers. So it's overall not a very good thing for a Mercedes Benz. Number 6, and it might not seem to be a big deal for many people, but this is non-matching tires. So if you want to buy a Mercedes, you always check the tires and the tires condition and the wears, and check for non-matching tires. So all 4 tires should be of the same brand and same design. The size might be different because some cars uses different sizes on the rear comparing to the front, like this Mercedes CLK W209. The size on the rear is different than the front. They should be same brand and same design. So non-matching tires can be an indication of low or lack of maintenance on the car and should be avoided, as such cars usually don't handle very well either, and usually the brakes are not well maintained on such cars as well. So always make sure to check the tire size and brands and make sure they are all matching. Number 5 can be a very big issue and it's a real deal breaker. Storm or flood affected car. It's obvious that flood affected cars should be avoided, especially when it comes to Mercedes Benz with a lots of electronic equipments that might get affected and turn your purchase into a nightmare. So as much as you can, check for flood signs in the interior and exterior of car. Make sure you check the history of car and make sure it's not of the salvage title. Number four, and this one affected me too. So this is not a really big deal as long as you consider this into the price point, but this is the convertible canvas or hydraulic in neglected condition. This one is really the one that I'm suffering now, and it is really an expensive fix. So just like my CLK 500 A209, which still has problem with the top canvas as the seam is split and the hydraulics need the repair, and I have already sent all the hydraulic cylinders to get repaired. I also need to replace my top canvas, which is a very expensive and time consuming fix. So always make sure that you consider this big issue in the price point, and as much as you can avoid a convertible Mercedes with neglected top hydraulics and soft top condition. Number 3, and it can be a big issue for some countries, regions, and states that are humid, and that's the rust. And sometimes there is no rust, and you will see some bubbles around the boot area or the fenders. That thankfully I don't have this condition at the moment, but that is something that you should really check on any car. Bubbles underneath the paint means that the car was not painted correctly and it was probably painted over the rust, and that is going to be a nightmare. So avoid buying a car in such condition unless you really know what you're doing. Number 2, and it's all about the engine choice, and this is a bit subjective. Maybe I'm a bit subjective on this matter, but as much as I can, I avoid 4 cylinders, M271 engines, 1.8 liter supercharged, and M111 engine, 2.3 liter supercharged. These engines, in my opinion, are not the most durable or reliable engines. As much as I can, I stick to M112 and M113 engines as well as M119 engine. These engines are more reliable, make better horses, naturally aspirated, and down the road can cause you less pain. Of course, it really depends to your taste and your need, but something to consider is usually gas turbocharged and supercharged small engines are less reliable than the naturally aspirated bigger displacement Mercedes engines. I know Mercedes is much better in producing V6s and V8s than, let's say, 4 cylinders. That is coming from my 20 years of Mercedes Benz ownership. Number 1, and this is very obvious, do not buy any Mercedes sight unseen. I have done this and I'm still regretting. I purchased my A209 sight unseen and it has too many issues and it's costing me a lot of money to fix. And thankfully, it's not a disaster. It's gonna cost you more than buying a car from a good and well-maintained owner. There are so many details, features, options, and electronics and mechanics and technology used on Mercedes-Benz that you should really go ahead and see the car and test drive it and check every single option, and then go ahead with your purchase with open eyes and knowing that how much you're paying for the car and how much cost is going to make you incur down the road. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Please go ahead and give me a thumb up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, and have a great day.